this is your April 2024 soul story. If you've got a sun, rising or moon in the sign, you might find this reading resonates. It's Romy. Thanks for joining me on the channel. We are going to open up this month for you with the energy of the King of Cups. It's important you pace yourself in April. You don't want to be the one that's putting pressure on yourself. We have an incredibly accelerated time that's going to feel very motivating and exhilarating, but there's also plenty of frustration surfacing as we open up the month with Mercury stationing retrograde in Aries. Now that fire energy is speaking your language, and there are pieces from the past that are going to be coming back and important to help you apply the learning in regards to something, okay? I want to remind you though, and the King of Cups is certainly advocating that, you know, what you do to honor yourself through the month of April is what makes it possible for all of the things to exist that you need. So i.e. to rest, to reconnect, to reflect, is going to stop you from burning out. And it's going to help you to see things in the light and in the context that they're meant, okay? Now, we're starting to move with more of these planetary conversations in Aries. So Venus shifts into the sign from the 4th of the month, certainly turns up the intensity with regards to things. King of Cups is also bringing emotion and heart to the conversation. So it may be that early on in the month, you're certainly having some intimate, you know, conversations that, you know, a lot is said and a lot is brought into the open, and I think there's a desire certainly to want to progress and to move things forward. I think it can be incredibly liberating when you come through April with an intention to stop censoring and editing in your life. So whether that be just like not saying what you mean or holding back in certain ways in terms of what you want to create, what you want to put out there, how you want to express yourself. Now, fate is certainly like making itself known this month. We've got a total solar eclipse coming in Aries on the 8th of the month at 19 degrees. Huge karmic clearance energy coming in around that new moon. With your 9th house, it's interesting what you might be feeling, you know, with your own spiritual pathways is some powerful polarizing thoughts surfacing. You know, you might be reviewing kind of your sources of inspiration or questioning your own beliefs. There might be revelations and things that come to light that are going to be incredibly important in the advancement of your pathways. Certainly as you explore kind of what you see coming in on the horizon, you're also going to be looking, the Magician says, at, you know, what is it going to take and what do I need to learn? This is why I really feel for you, Leo, like April is about the application of the learning. Now with the King of Cups and the Magician, I'm also sensing for you that there needs to be an adjustment in terms of an emotional response that you've got. So, you know, early on in the month, frustration, rising impatience, shall we say, you know, or a certain feeling of just feeling a bit sort of agitated or aggravated, isn't going to be conducive to being able to find a solution or a way through. Not that it's always easy, but sometimes to just step back and, you know, resume the art of listening is going to help you to see certain opinions differently. And again, you don't need to necessarily agree with those opinions, but in order to just find a way through or create a bridge of possibility, I think it's going to be quite important to have that awareness. I also think that, you know, you have a growing maturity in regards to, you know, how you see yourself in the context of something important in your life as well. So, you know, if we look especially around the fact that moving into Taurus season, your 10th house will be lit up around career, like what I'm seeing is that, you know, you're holding more value in what you bring to the table. You're identifying with a stronger trust and acceptance the gifts that you have, what you're good at, respecting and honoring and having more confidence, I think, to be able to communicate and articulate that. And again, if this is falling into other areas in your life, you just feel to me to be more sure of communicating exactly what you know to be the shifts and changes that have happened within you and how that can positively impact on things. And people need to hear that because they're not always necessarily aware of the work that you've put in or what you now believe and, you know, what you're coming to the table with. So I think there's the onus on you through this month to educate and to teach people and lead by example. And again, that's going to make a huge difference in terms of how others will be responding to you as well. Now remember, this me versus we axis that's playing out with the Aries and Libra eclipses, you know, stays with us all the way through to 2025. So even though you'll have opportunities to kind of clear things with this total solar eclipse and very powerful it will feel, there is a continuation of something that you're working on that will feel very personal to you. Now, the Seven of Cups also indicates here, you know, we have this kind of slightly frenetic energy and it could feel at times a bit chaotic through the month. That does in itself create opportunities though. And, you know, your Seven of Cups suggests that more possibilities than you thought were going to be possible could surface. Maybe that eclipse is going to bring to light things that you didn't anticipate or that you really thought weren't going to be an option or available to you at this time. That in and of itself can cause a bit of a headache because you might have already decided on a particular course of action or, you know, felt that something was moving in a certain way, and now all of that seems to be back up for debate a little bit. That can cause confusion if you allow it. Rather, I would say work with the energy, not against it. You know, if you can look at April and say, try to create more than you consume, then you're going to start to discover how your own natural, unique essence is able to shine through, okay? The overwhelm, if you like, the overstimulation of tapping in or tuning into too much kind of external noise in April could definitely like burn you out or just drain you, you know, particularly with the astrological conversations that are in play as well. But I do think that the possibilities put you back in a place where you don't feel like your, you know, back is against the wall. All of a sudden it's like, okay, you know, there could be more than one approach to what can happen next. But the indecision that you might feel, or arriving at the crossroads where you know that, you know, now's the time when I need to act, is going to be at the same time sort of influenced with this Mercury retrograde that's kind of holding something up. So it's a real sort of mixed bag energy. It's like one step forward, two steps back a little bit. That said, intention can cut through really powerfully, but you are showing me that there's something perhaps you want to avoid or step away from. We've got the waterfall kind of, you know, partly obscuring the King of Cups. We've got the blindfold over the face here, head in the hands, looking down. There's something that you're not wanting to see or face properly. And there'll be many reasons why that could be, you know, going on for you. Nonetheless, like April's one of these sort of wake you up experiences, and there's certainly a lot of unexpected energy set to come through that's saying that's exactly what you need to do. Now, perhaps it's a time of like introspection and reflection before you're ready to face, but if you wait too long, then something's going to happen anyway. And rather that you be out ahead of it because you're prepared for it, than necessarily feeling like you're trying to then respond to a situation that wasn't wanted or was so unexpected it's blindsided you a little bit. Now, the Sun shifts into Taurus on the 19th, and on the 20th we have this incredibly rare aspect, Jupiter conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Last time that came through 1941, and so, you know, incredible surprise events taking place around this time, particularly financially. Certainly with an emphasis around your 10th house, there could be major things shaking up in your career path, opportunities. There might be some income sources or streams of income that present themselves. As that energy is like wildly unpredictable, it may feel like there's loss before there's gain. You've got Five of Swords here, and I do want to say, you know, there's challenge that comes in any time when we're going through like rapid growth or accelerated growth, and you know that can feel very unsettling, and at the same time it's not anything that you can't handle, and it's not anything that really in hindsight is that unsurprising. Like I kind of feel anything that surfaces that leads you feeling a little bit disconnected, or feeling under the kind of, I don't know, it's like suppressed energies, almost like it just feels like that holding back, and therefore it's translated into a feeling of disappointment, because it's almost like within yourself you're like, okay, like why can I not move this forward, or why am I being challenged in this way, or why has it come up in that kind of a capacity. I will say to you that this will soon be like water under the bridge. It's not anything that's permanent. It's not anything that feels like it's going to create so much disagreeable energy that there isn't a way through this. In fact, as a result of coming up against something, then what we're able to do is then find a solution that actually will be one that we use over and over again, is what I'm feeling into. And I think this is also the product of then not facing something as well. So this is another reason why we just want to look something direct in the eyes and say, okay, I see you, I accept this, what do I need to do in this situation? And, what is it going to take? And then you're going to be able to move through that more fearlessly, more confidently. April is definitely an energy that wants you to act. Retrograde says, there's something that we need to have learned or perhaps bring back from the past that we can improve, we can adjust, we can reevaluate before we do that. And then perhaps that can also help to stave off or to limit any damage or disruption effectively that can come through with that Five of Swords. Juno, asteroid goddess, is stationing direct the day after this powerful conjunction on the 21st, and first went retrograde back in January, has been in Virgo since October 23, and that was a lot about kind of coming to terms with those aspects within our relationships, also from a contractual perspective, any agreements that we've got in place, and where we want to bring about better terms. There was a deep desire to say, like, this is no longer agreeable to me, or this is a non-negotiable, and perhaps it felt quite challenging to move through that period. Now we've got an opportunity to kind of revisit the detail from a place of strength to negotiate something that's going to be much better. And remember, if your overall April is about applying the learning, we don't want to repeat lessons that we've already been through. Your King of Swords actually comes through and he's laid back, he's quite at ease. So it almost shows me that your approach to this as well can be one of just total quiet acceptance, but also like knowing your stuff and knowing very clearly your value, what you want, what you're looking for, what your needs are. And as I said, not censoring or editing yourself. And I think the willingness to kind of hear others' opinions and will, also be something you may have heard time and time again, but for whatever reason in April, you hear something about it in a new way, and that could sort of shift the goalpost on something that's going to be helpful for you as well, especially as we come up to the full moon in Scorpio on the 23rd. So again, this feeling of April being quite intense is further added to with the water energy of Scorpio, sort of bringing things to light, revealing hidden secrets, if you will, and also kind of creating this sense of slight mystery around something that feels quite compelling and magnetic in a way. You yourself will come off very magnetic, so it can be a super powerful time if you're trying to draw things towards you, particularly getting the gaze, getting the eyeballs, getting the attention, looking towards something that you are expressing. That could look really favorably, and I think there's a lot of passion that can be ignited, and particularly when I'm looking at the cups and the swords, a sense of like almost like opposites attracting, or the polarity of something being kind of almost a little bit ironic in terms of how it shapes itself or presents itself in and around that full moon in Scorpio. You've got something to say and the truth out around that time. No censoring, no editing, but it can be quite forthright, or you can be on the receiving end of something that's quite forthright. Scorpio tends to be a more indirect sign, but then when they deliver the truth, it can land with an intensity. So what we see coming through here as well, particularly as we, recognize that we've got this kind of overarching retrograde energy that's about to station direct, on the 25th, and you know, there's things that are coming back from the past. So it's sort of, it's almost like you thought something had been dealt with, or that you knew everything about a situation, and then that full moon is going to reveal like another layer to it. And the way that that's received is also going to show you how much you've grown, or how much something is still affecting you. So, you know, it's going to be an interesting time. But what I do definitely sense for you through this month of April, Leo, is this acceleration in terms of like your clarity, if you like, on something that's super important to you. And I think it's shaping like a new idea or a new strategy that you're going to want to deploy, and I wouldn't be surprised if it already gets initiated in April, especially with all that fire energy kind of supporting you and giving you the wherewithal to just say, okay, I'm just gonna do it. Now's the time. And Magician's like really kind of stepping up as the major arcana here, and kind of holding core and holding the space for that to happen. And there's an intensity and a focus that he's bringing that can help cut through a lot of the distortion or confusion, to actually help you get something done. And that's sort of, I don't want to say against the odds, but I certainly want to say against a backdrop that feels incredibly in flux and very changeable, very intense, very dramatic at times, but also rich with opportunity. And if you allow it to be, actually incredibly exhilarating this month. Yeah. So if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we cover in the extended version. You can find the link beneath. We also look at a personal card and a relationship card for you, Leo. I'm just going to go ahead and put some cards down to see the direction we'll take that extended reading in. Okay, so this month in my Sacred Soul Support guided meditations, we're looking at elevating your prosperity consciousness. Take advantage of that Jupiter conjunct Uranus aspect. We've also got a journey with Juno, the asteroid goddess, to work with her and see how to best harness the energies. You can find that along with my sacred titles, my goddess reports, to see where Juno sits in your chart, over on my website, romywiser.com. That'll also show you ways to work with me. So 10 of Cups, 7 of Pentacles. We've got another King of Swords here, another 8 of Pentacles showing up, the Star, Chariot, beautiful, 2 of Swords, Ace of Swords, beautiful. Getting that clarity through the Artist and the Well. These are 2 additional cards in this deck. You can find all the decks listed below. What about this 5 of Swords, 7 of Cups? I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to make the wrong choice, is what I'm hearing from that. 6 of Wands, 7 of Swords, 4 of Wands. Okay. Venus is going to move into Taurus and Mars into Aries at the end of the month. Both of these happy to be there as they're with their ruling planets and signs. So that also makes a difference just in terms of the tempo of the conversations, you know. And it certainly brings about, from a passion perspective, love, romance, relationship, a more agreeable opportunity, shall we say, to just kind of feel into the teachings and the way in which Venus and Mars can help direct us. So I'm going to look at our Life Soul Vision Oracle, which is my own deck, just to see how this is going to weigh in. Blossoming Soul Song, Mirrors of the Mind. We've got Rise in Love, Crown Energy, Soothe Your Soul, Queen of Fire, beautiful. Okay, let's have a look at a couple of oracle cards for Leo now for the month of April. You have Balance, Stability, Standing Firm, and an astrological card for Leo. Aries, perfect. Act. Okay. Leo, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you will come on to the extended reading. We'll continue this conversation. Have a great month of April. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.